prepare for an NCAT hearing. Now, many of you will know our magnificent property management trainer, Rosy Saib, and fairly regularly, a couple of times a year, she'll take off down to the Sydney CBD NCAT hearing rooms and have a bit of a watch and a listen to what's going on down there when they're talking property matters. And, she came back, she went down a week or so ago and came back and, she found that one of the things that was really, really highlighted for her was the lack of preparation by agents in terms of turning up there. Now, we all know that it's that thing at the end of a deal or and it's so difficult to find time to fit this in, but so important. If you're representing either your agency or more commonly you'd be representing your landlord, then there are really things that you need to do. So regardless of whether your landlord is the applicant or the respondent, it's really important to be prepared. So as soon as you receive that notice of hearing, you should start preparing for the hearing day. Or if you've lodged it, then you should be preparing it from the very first time that you've lodged it. And, some of the tips for preparation, and as Rosemary stated to us and had a long chat with, the trainers as a group, it was the hearing notes form that the tribunal member was most aggravated about on a regular occurrence, about it wasn't being completed appropriately by the agents. Now, it's a 2-page form and only the first page needs to be completed by the agent. So really it's only a 1-page form as far as the agents are concerned. Second page is for the tribunal to complete. Now, on that first page, I've got one here I'm just looking at, that we printed off. I mean, it's really easy. It's got all of the details, your details at the top and what your agency name is. The tenancy agreement, some details on it about the rent, the term of the agreement, the bond amount, when it was lodged, when it was paid out, if it's been paid out, who to, any rent increases that occurred in the past 12 months, the termination notice. But the one big thing that wasn't filled out commonly was the current situation. So you've got to make sure that when you turn up in there, your hearing notes are really clear and have been fully completed. Agents were being sent out of the hearing room to complete the hearing notes. So not a good way to start your hearing. I mean, that's your first thing you need to do. You need to make a list of all the issues that are important to your landlord's case. That's, the first thing that you would start doing when as you're filling out the hearing notes, because that's going to highlight for you what these issues are. Set out a timeline that lists all of the important facts, the dates, the events of the case. Gather all of your information and your evidence that you're actually going to rely upon when you're in the hearing, such as, a copy of your current licence or your certificate of registration, because they ask for that. Your obviously, in addition to your hearing notes, management inspection report, management agency agreement, your residential tenancy agreement, condition reports at the start of the tenancy, a condition report at the end of the tenancy if the tenant has already vacated, bond information, rent records, so your tenant rental ledger, any termination notices, repayment plans that have been negotiated between the parties, copies of your routine inspection reports throughout the tenancy, photographs or videos that go hand in hand with those routine inspection reports or your ingoing or your outgoings, copies of all your correspondence between the parties, invoices, quotations for any works that have been done, police report if it's required, witness statements, statute declarations, all of those things. Label your information, put it in a folder so it's really easy to read. So you're with your summary at the beginning with that timeline, all of your documents in behind it. Practice presenting your case, whether you're doing it sitting at your desk or you do it to another colleague or to, just make sure that you're actually practicing it. So if the member actually asks you details, then you can answer them in a professional way and you know where to turn to in your notes to say, well, tab F member is where this is. Stick to your facts. Stay calm, take the emotion out of all of those bits of advice that you need to put into your head before you walk into that hearing room. So, that summary is what's going to be sitting in your head and it should be at the front of, everything you do. So keeping that in front of you and making sure that you bring a notepad, a pen, a calculator if you need to, and even a calendar of making sure that you can go in and check everything that's being questioned of you at that time. So guys, really important, if you are heading off to an NCAT hearing, be prepared. So if you haven't ever done one, then maybe it's time to do a refresher course, and yes, we run them, in terms of actually how you participate in an NCAT hearing. So guys, that's really important to be, and I know I've laboured that point today, but it was, Rosemary was stating to us that it was really obvious the lack of preparation that had gone into it. And, it's not easy, and yes, it is time consuming, but if you're representing your landlord, if you are charging them for the pleasure of going to NCAT on their behalf, then you need to be prepared.